welcome to the Improv Summit. As always, I'm your host, Spencer, and with me today I have a very special guest. Now, I always say that I have a very special guest, so to change it up, I take that person's first letter of their first name and I throw an adjective in front of it. And today with me, I'm not going to use the two obvious ones of amazing or awesome. Instead, I'm going to go with amorphous. I think that's a word, amorphous Adam. That's what we're going with today, because that's the third word I thought of.
I appreciate it. It is not an adjective that I've been called before, but I do think that it is reflective of who I am as a person.
I should have called you like anamorphous, like an anamorph. Like, can you transform into an animal on like any? I mean, I guess humans are animals, but can you like transform into like another animal? Like,
I can actually transform into a lemur. Unfortunately, it is a grotesque mutated lemur that looks exactly like me. So you wouldn't really be able to tell too much, but I do have a pre-ensile tail when I do it, so it's not bad.
Yeah, that's great. You know, sometimes you get the tail, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you gotta not have a tail.
You gotta keep it interesting in this crazy age we're living in.
Sometimes you want a banana and sometimes you don't. What is it? Oh, sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. That's the thing. I mean, mounds are better than almond joy, let's be honest. Anyways, let's dive into this. I don't need anyone else's opinion on that.
Right here. Oh my God.
That is the only opinion that is correct, is that mounds are better than almond joy, because one, dark chocolate, and two, who wants nuts in their chocolate? So anyways, let's dive into this, shall we?
Look, if we're talking about dark chocolate versus regular chocolate, yeah, dark chocolate's clearly the obvious winner, but nuts in chocolate can be a delightful combination. Need I say Snickers?
Snickers is fine, I guess. I can see that. I think my problem is with the almond joy, where there's literally just a nut in
I don't
a
like
candy bar.
Because you can tell too much that it felt like an afterthought. Like they were like, man, this is just the same damn thing we made last week. Put a nut on it.
Yeah, and put milk chocolate instead of dark chocolate. Boo. Just kidding.
I mean, that nut, that's going to be raising our bottom line or screwing our bottom line too much.
I guess you know what? You know, I should say I can give nuts the okay. What I can't give the okay is raisins in anything, including carrot cake and chocolate. Like a raisinette or like a carrot cake or an oatmeal raisin cookie. I mean, oatmeal cookies are great. I don't need the raisin in them.
If you're putting a raisin into your carrot cake, you're ruining your carrot cake. And that thing is like a magical transformation of carrot, which is meh, into carrot cake, which is
100%. But you know, here on the Improv Summit, nuts versus raisins versus chocolate edition. Just kidding. Let's dive in and talk about you, Adam, and the reason why we're here, which is about improv. And yes, I said it like that because that's how it happens. Let's talk about you and your improv background. What is? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's there. It's the third pronunciation. What is your background in improv? What is your experience with improv?
So I got a little bit of start back when I was in college at Boston University. I had a lot of friends who got into Slow Children at Play, which was really big on campus. So I did some goofy stuff with that. I was in stage troupe where we did some improv shows for kids, for adult audiences that eventually transitioned into more scripted stuff. But when I moved out to Los Angeles, I tried out a couple different classes. I did some UCB classes. I did some Second City, and they're all amazing. There's so many resources out here that you can try out, and it's pretty low risk. But if you want to commit to it, then you kind of have to, pick a school and go with it, because otherwise you're just spreading your money everywhere.
That's great. So me, and that's
I had a pretty basic upbringing of improv. Most of my improv knowledge came from just hanging around other people who had the money at the time to pay their dues. And I'd be like, so what'd you guys learn today? And then we would run scenes and have fun with it.
That's great. That's a great way to learn. And that's actually one of the ways that you can do improv, is to find improv that is within your budget. And if your budget is zero, it exists. You just have to find it. And like I'm not being like facetious or like that, like it exists. There are places I can literally tell you right now, Rogue Improv in LA, which is currently online, they are a pay what you can / if you can't pay, please come. We still want to have you. So that's a place, shout out to Michael and team over there. But there are also opportunities for scholarships, for work exchange, but also like people want you to invest in the craft in whatever way you can, whether that's time, whether that's money, or whether that's just your presence in that space. And so I think that's great for you to kind of bring up with this idea of trying different things. And also, like, what did you learn with the class that I can't spend $500 plus on? And it's true, like Oh wait, I forgot to mention the Improv Summit is a free way to learn about improv. Wow, I didn't even think about it, but this thing right here doesn't cost you anything. But if you want to donate, you can Venmo me, and I can make the show even better in the future.
You can buy
Or it can just
props.
stay as props. Is that what you said? Props?
Yeah, props. You need props.
Yeah, I need
I mean,
all
yeah,
the
you can
props.
mime props, but like having props is awesome.
Yeah, I can improv prop. I can improv, or I can have real props. I mean, really, it's up to you at home, the viewers.
Yeah, he gets to save some of that imagination energy for, the comedy.
Yeah, maybe I can turn it into like sketches instead of just improv.
One thing that I don't think a lot of people realize, especially, I mean, if your audience, if you're not in Los Angeles, if you're, Chicago or New York or really anywhere else where there is an improv scene, which is most cities at this point in time,
Hmm.
there are a lot of bigger companies that do scholarship programs, do grant programs. If you are a military veteran, there are veteran applications where you can get discounts because they want to bring in more people. They want to build up a troupe, and they want to be able to perform for an audience with a very, skill set. So don't be put off by the potential price tag, and build it up in your mind as this, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to afford this. But go and ask and say, I really want to work here. I really want to learn here. What can I do to make that work? There was a place in Studio City that I went to where if you couldn't afford to pay dues, you just had to work box office, and you did
Hmm.
that once, twice a week, and that was your dues for the month. So or even if you only did it 4 times a month, that was your dues for the month. So you were still able to go to all of the lessons throughout the week, and you didn't have to worry about getting $100 or whatever it may have been to pay for those courses. So there's always opportunities out there.
That's great. That's great because again, it's a matter of like time versus money versus everything else, because there are times where I'm like, I wish I could have just paid for this class instead of spending my time. But there are also other times where I'm like, what else was I doing with this time, and I saved the money. And it's also like sometimes it's like, what if I did both? Like what, like a half and half kind of situation. Like there's all these like ways, and I think that that's like, as someone who's a Capricorn, it's the best way to kind of this is, and I can't explain what this is, and it's frustrating me that no one knows what I'm doing. But like brackets, like plan it out. Like if I was to pay, what do I need to do in order to pay for that? What am I sacrificing, and what is the benefit? If I'm giving my time, what am I sacrificing? What is the benefit? If I apply for a scholarship and don't get it, what am I sacrificing? If I do get it, what is the benefit? I think it's like weighing the pros and cons essentially of each element and seeing what has the most pros for you with the least disruptive cons.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's surprisingly a very specific way to put it. And I really love what I just did without realizing it.
It's like
cool.
You improvised the whole thing.
What? No. Those expensive classes that I did on work study. What? I didn't even pay for that knowledge. And you just heard it here for free on the Improv Summit.
You can do where you're putting yourself in those that environment. If you're working at those places, if you're going to see shows, if you're hanging out with people who are studying improv techniques, you're going to pick up a lot more than you even realize, especially if you are watching professionals who are at the top of their craft and like really knocking it out of the park. You'd be amazed how much you just pick up by osmosis. And it's the same thing if you want to be any kind of creator, you need to be absorbing as much of that art as you can.
I love that. That actually kind of leads me sort of into this next question. Not like completely, but it's enough of a segue that it works. Which also, by the way, this is called object work, and I'm very bad at it. So next question. That being said, so with improv, and I say this a lot on this show, but I have a hard time of just remembering anything that I do in improv because it's so in the moment. With the exception of like certain scenes that I've watched, or like, things that I've done where I had like an aha moment of like, oh, that's what this means. I get it. Things like that. But for you, are there any scenes in improv, one that you remember, like a 2-person scene that you remember, like you'll never forget it because of whatever reason, and or is there like a relationship between 2 characters in a scene that you've always wanted to play or see but haven't had the chance because it's not a traditional like 2-person scene?
One one thing that's always stood out to me, or one memory of improv that always remains with me. I saw an improv show at UCB in Chicago, and it was wild. It was their,
Wait a second. Did you say UCB in Chicago?
no, it should be Second City in Chicago.
I was like, is this a new thing that no one has heard of? This is like brand new information.
I'm crossed and wired. Second City in Chicago.
Okay, got it.
And it was like their brand new crew following their varsity guys. And the first varsity came in and it destroyed it. They were incredible. Nothing dropped. They were flowing. They did long form. They did short games. Everything was amazing. And then the new cast comes out and is just experimenting. And it was jazz. It was chaos. It didn't make sense. And at one point, the eldest member of the team, the person who had the most experience in improv, just started having to patch things together so that they could wrap it up. And throughout the entire show, I knew nobody is paying attention to what they're saying. Everyone is yes-anding, and it's not going to come together. And then this one person had to grab all of these threads in like 20 seconds. I've never seen somebody think on their feet so fast, and it worked. And it was this mind-blowing magic moment. And that's the sort of thing you get in improv, where if everything falls apart, nobody cares. As long as it's fun and the audience is enjoying it, you're having a great time. But when you get those moments where, oh, I remember this detail. I remember, Spencer called me anamorph at the beginning, and then we talked about being lemur, and then if we pull all these details into the end, and all of a sudden, boom, and then I have a painting of me as a lemur holding a banana while I'm inventing UCB in Chicago. Like, all of those things come together, and all of a sudden the audience is like, whoa, they planned this, but they didn't. And I love those moments. I think that's the beauty of improv is you will.
I love those people with great memories too.
You
said all that, and I was like, did we say that already? I already forgot.
Power is only unscripted. When it comes to improv, I will forget important details right away. Character names. I'm so bad with character names. So when we're doing, especially if it's like long form and you have 2 people playing 20 characters, I will forget every name the first
I remember I do it, and I make sure that I say the person's name. I'm like, Darren. Listen, Darren. And then the other person will say, they'll call me Chris or whatever, and then they'll come back and they'll go, as if my name wasn't Mike. And I'm like, is your name Mike? And they're like, I don't know. I'm like, I'm pretty sure. I was like, maybe it is Mike. And I start second guessing, even though I kept saying Darren all the time. And I'm like, I guess I did call you Mike. Forgot completely. And I said, it doesn't matter. The point is, you have so many aliases, I can't even stand it. And that's the best way to get around it, because so then sometimes I just don't name people.
I usually go with nicknames. I'll be like, hey, sport. How you doing there, champ?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hey, kid.
It's like, oh, it's that ghost of the Civil War guy.
Hello, principal. Hello, neighbor. If you know who they are too, the relationship between each other. Hello, boss.
Yeah, titles.
Hello, my fellow employee. That's the best way to do it. I should start doing that from now on. Hello, sir.
Names it. I remember where objects are. That was I did a dumb show back in college.
I walk through tables all the time. It's ridiculous.
We had come up with it was an armory, and the guy, my scene partner, kept walking around being like, now we could use this, and he's establishing, all right, this wall is this, and this wall is this, and there's a table here, and there's a light that's flickering, and I'm like, stop adding to the scene. I am running out of brain space. And then at the end of the scene, when we had to kind of wrap things up and started handing things out, I remembered where everything was. I still had it in my head, and then I ran through the table.
Yeah, there's so many times where I'm so focused on the walls that I forget there's stuff in front of us. It's and here's the lovely dining room set with 4 chairs and a table, and I'm like, oh great, wow, this is nice, and then I'll forget about it. I'll just walk through it 7 times.
Over our turkey dinner, it's fine.
But it's also fun, if someone realizes it when it happens, is if there's a table and you're walking through the table, but you actually step up as if you're stepping on the table, and then you step down in character, you're it's there and you're purposely stepping on it. That's fun stuff. The problem is I just accidentally step on it because I don't remember that it's there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But
this is why my scenes.
You can make something out of that.
Oh yeah, my scenes are always hey, cool, this place is nice. All the stuff that's in front of us and not where we are standing. All the stuff on this wall in front of us that we are not touching. But we can point to things like this thing that's right there, and this thing that's here, and this thing that's here. All 3 things look great. Don't you think so? Forget about any details. I'm like, just come in and just, forget the details. Don't forget details in improv. It's very important. And what's surprisingly interesting is like, even though I have a hard time remembering anything in improv scenes in the moment and afterwards or anything, like if you call me back as a character and you want me to do something, you have to like literally remind me what I did in order for me to give you the reaction you want. But I have found that, like, on that note, like, details are very important and specifics are very important in improv, because for some reason it actually is easier. Like, even if I walk through a table 16 times knowing it's there, I can play off like, oh, I can walk through tables. It's my one thing I can do. That's my one superpower, is I can walk through tables. See, I'll show you. But I can't walk through a refrigerator. See, I'll show you. And then like point out the refrigerator and like run into it, right? Like, there's a way to play with that idea. But I think like having specifics, like with names, it's surprising how much I always forget a name, even after I've said it like 42 times. But having the name is always specific, because the audience can be like, well, that was Chris, not Mike. Or like the other person in the scene can be like, it happened once actually. I actually remembered the name of my character, and they were like, it was like me and another guy, and one of us was named like Charlie, and then one was like named Tom or something. I don't remember the names. And then one of them, the other guy was like pointing at us. He goes, all right, Steven. And I go, oh, Mike. And so he points to the other guy, goes, yeah, sorry, Steven. He goes, he was talking, he goes, oh, it's Charlie, by the way. Mm-hmm. And he goes, oh, that's right, I'm Steven. And it was like, we called you John. And he goes, yeah, that's right, John, Steven, Mike. It was this fun little moment of like, no one was this name, so we just had to figure out a way to somehow place this name in there. But the audience had a fun time of us calling out the fact that we remembered their names, and that was one of the only times I've ever remembered anybody's name in a scene. Mm-hmm. And it was unintentional, because he called me a different character, and I was like, nope, that's not my name. Mm-hmm.
I'm usually it's names and voices for me that I will if I do a voice, like if I do an accent at the opening of a scene, I can guarantee you I will forget by the end of the scene. It's like, I'm supposed to be a Russian spy. Nope, I'm going to be Irish by the end of this.
That's why I avoid dialects at all costs, because I'm not good at them. But I also have learned, like, when I do like two-prov or in improv teams, people know that I'm not good at them, but they know that I will do them. Like, I'm not opposed to doing it. I just, I won't be like, I'm going to be Russian in this scene. If someone goes, hey, you're the Russian cosmonaut, then I'll be like, like, oh, of course you did that. And I'll be like, oh, of course I'm Russian cosmonaut. Of course, that's me, Gregory, whatever, I don't know. But if people, tell me that I have this dialect, I will do it. I just avoid it if I can.
You can always do the, yes, I am. Do you mind if I practice my American accent? I'm trying to be a spy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true too. That's funny. Do you mind if I don't speak? Is it okay if I just don't talk for this scene? Is that okay with you? Because I'm trying to be a spy. That's funny. That's really funny. Quick sidebar. Is there anything you want to plug or pitch? Anything like that you have to share? That you want to have people follow you or watch or admit to? Anything?
Oh, geez. Well, if you wanna follow me on the socials, I'm at Officer Mankorn, Mankorn, because that's clever. I'm on the TikTok now, and I run the Academy of Words. So it's, if you want to learn about like writing techniques or how to do, different storytelling devices, that sort of thing, I talk about it. The one thing that I had go viral is a dumb comic book rant that I know is 90% wrong, but that's the sort of thing that goes viral in this day and age. So,
yeah, because you get the people who understand the content, and then people who are like, you're so wrong, you don't know anything. And it's like, yeah.
Did you even read the comics? I'm like, no, I Googled it. Deal with that.
I had one almost viral TikTok video. Not almost. It was only 31,000 views, but it was like me. It was like me. Yeah, it wasn't bad, but it just was like weird that it just happened and then it stopped. It wasn't even a TikTok format. It was like a horizontal video that I like just threw up there. So it's horizontal as opposed to vertical. But it's just a scene from a movie that I was in of me like screaming at someone. And I was like, people are like, I was like, for the full movie, you can click on the link below or like copy and paste the link, because you can't actually click on anything in TikTok, but copy and paste the link. And people are like, can I see a part 2? And I'm like, here's the movie. And they're like, please, part 2. And I'm like, here's the movie. You can watch the whole thing. And then I just went, you know what? Since everyone asked for it, here's a part 2. And then it was like 50 views. And I was like, all right, I guess no one really wanted a part 2. But that's what it is. Anyway, Adam, thanks so much for joining me here on the Improv Summit. I have one final question for you, which is the reason why the Improv Summit exists. And that's, a lot of times before pandemic, and even now with improv being accessible from literally anywhere in the world at your fingertips online, people always say, like, Spencer, where should I take improv? And it's always a hard question for me to answer because I feel like there's so many different factors to it. And you actually kind of touched on this right at the beginning in the intro about your improv experience. But if someone came up to you and asked you, where should I take improv? What would be one piece of advice or one tip you'd give to them to help guide them on their improv journey?
I would say you need to decide what your goals are in improv. So if your goal is, I want to use improv as a platform to launch stand-up, or I want to start doing comedy theater, I want to be a movie star, you need to see what your goals are, and then you need to decide which place is going to get you towards your goals. Because otherwise you're going to be bouncing around from troupe to troupe, just spending money and learning, but you're not actually moving towards your goals. So if you just want to learn improv because it's a great skill set, it can help you throughout your daily life, then find something local that meets your time, meets your financial goals, and go to it and commit to it. Give yourself a year where you're going to commit to going to this once a week, once every other week, but make a commitment and stick to it. And you will see things develop from that. If your goal is to be more professional with it, then you should look at one of the larger troupes. And you don't have to start with Second City or UCB or anything like that. There are a lot of local troupes that are big for the city. And then from there, you can go on to a national brand. But you should make the commitment. And again, it may be a financial one. But the easiest thing to do is ask people who are in that troupe. Ask people who are actively taking lessons at UCB. They're very open about it. And ask them, what are you getting out of it? What are your goals? And if they align, then you're on the right track.
That's great. I love that. I love this also. That was the only thing I took away from that entire explanation. Just kidding. Adam, thanks so much for joining me here.
Times we got to talk with our hands, or it doesn't even make sense.
Listen, I'm Greek. I know the exact thing. I gotta for sure 100%. That's why I point a lot for no apparent reason. I also just like
it's pointing. It's democracy and it's yogurt, and they've got it on lock.
It is what it is.
Oh, and salads. God, I shouldn't besmirch the salad.
And let it be on record for those of you that are watching or listening, a Greek salad does not have lettuce in it. Just going to throw that out there. A Greek salad does not have lettuce. So for those of you who think you're eating a Greek salad and making a Greek salad and you throw lettuce in there, you're not. You're not. I personally don't like Greek salad.
Block of a feta cheese and drizzled with caramel sauce.
You say caramel sauce?
Yeah, caramel sauce. I know it's wild, but the Greeks, trust me, they know what they're doing.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that.
All right, full disclosure, I've never eaten a salad in my life.
Well, it's funny you say that because it's definitely drizzled with olive oil. But it's cucumber, tomato, and onions and olives. Usually Kalamata. I prefer black. However, I don't like Greek salads because I don't like cucumbers, tomatoes, or onions. So what am I getting? Olives and feta? I'll take it.
Give me olives and feta. Come smack you in the face.
Listen, I think it'll be fine. So I like faux Greek salads because I will do the lettuce instead of tomatoes, onions, and cucumbers.
My favorite faux Greek salad is just a gyro with no green absolute.
Could you pronounce that word again for me?
I'm going to go with gyro. Is that how it's pronounced?
It's not the worst pronunciation.
Yes, that's what I go for.
The worst pronunciation is gyro, like Elvis's gyrating hips. It's actually gyro.
Gyro. Okay. Gyro. Well, hey, I'm a product of an American education, so my pronunciation is going to be wrong 99% of the time.
Aren't all American Greek restaurants here? When I go and I order spanakopita, but instead I have to order spinach pie, or when I want to order galaktoboureko and I have to order custard-filled pastry. So for those who want to know, galaktoboureko is delicious and spanakopita is delicious, but you may have to find it at your local shop called spinach pie and or custard-filled pastry.
As somebody who married into an Israeli family, I can say we feel the same way when somebody says have some hummus.
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 Well, we say it differently in Greek.
True. There is also a Greek pronunciation for that as well.
Hummus. Also, this is a whole thing. I worked at a restaurant. It was a Mediterranean restaurant, and this lady ordered moussaka. And I brought it out, and I was like, here's your moussaka. She grabbed my arm. I kid you not. She grabbed my arm and looked at me dead in the eyes and said, It's pronounced moussaka. And I literally went, thank you for educating me, and then walked off. Because I was like, first of all, I work here. Second of all, I'm Greek. I think I know how to pronounce the food of my culture.
Oh my God.
And she was like very much not Greek. Or Mediterranean for that matter. Yeah, so I was like, I literally just looked at her and I think I said okay and then walked off.
Oh, cool beans there, lady.
So next time I'm gonna order chili with rice and bands. Chili with rice and bians.
You love my carne asada.
my polo.
I need a taco. Give me that taco.
Give me a burrito. No, I think that's correct. Avocado. Anyway, Adam, thanks so much for joining me here on the Improv Summit. I could talk about food all day. I did say that was the last question I had for you, but I do have one other question because I'm always a liar on this show and I never can get enough answers. And that question is, we've been talking a lot about improv. You want to do some improv?
Well, I did need to go to the blood bank and donate, a few pints, but I suppose I've got time to do a little bit of improv.
I love it. I love that you would like to be positive and do some improv.
Yeah, but I'm negative about this situation.
Hey, that's what I got. All right, let's do it. Hey everybody, it's Spencer, Adam. We're going to do some improv for you. And Adam, I need to answer this question. Do you want a location, a relationship, or a word?
Let's do location.
Location, great. Let me give you two. You tell me which one you want to go with. These are new ones. Do you want to go with Raspberry Field or Hayloft?
I'm going to do Raspberry Field.
Great. Who would you like to initiate this scene?
I'll initiate.
All right, thank you. Raspberry Field. I don't want to hit stop.
Oh God, I'm so sorry. Farmer Tim, I stepped on it.
I see that.
Oh God, is it gonna grow back? Oh my God, I know there's so many of them, but I called that raspberry Roger.
Raspberried.
That was a really cute pun, but now I'm still feeling really... It's one of God's creatures. It's a living thing. It's trying to just cast itself out of the world, and I stepped on it like an oaf.
I don't want to raspberry all your burdens. I just need you to, let them go.
This is a real jam right now.
Sure is.
I mean, you hired me on to be a helper because of your accident. And I want to, but clearly I am ill-equipped to wander through these raspberry fields without making a mess of everything.
It's okay. They go forever. Raspberry fields forever.
But, I feel like I won't preserve them the way that they need to be. I feel like such a schmuck. I'm sorry, schmuck. Ugh.
We're a bunch of schmuckers, aren't we?
I know.
More you than me, but...
Well, you've got the experience. Clearly, you haven't stepped on a blade of grass.
Choosy moms, choose me. I'll be back in a jiff.
Well, that was a snack.
Did you fix the problem, or?
No, I got hungry and I ate 3. These are delicious. I can see where they're flying off the shelves.
Yeah, they're delicious.
They're very good.
Yeah, indeed they are. Indeed they are.
Now, I gotta be honest with you. These seem to be seedless. How do they reproduce? Because don't plants need to,
You want to know the secret?
get that seed out?
No, you're pretty much right on the money there.
It is a money shot that I'm going.
What is a berry that goes into you but a seed?
Berry that goes into you but a seed?
It's the berry that you just ate. So now you're going to become a raspberry seed and become a giant raspberry.
Well, that can't... So, why can't I move my foot?
How many of those raspberries did you step on?
At this point, you can see my trail of destruction leading all the way back there.
Cynthia, Samantha, Carl, Frederick,
Roger,
James, Sally.
I can't move either of my feet.
And now...
What is happening?
Well, you're
I'm
barely a human now.
Do you have a pistol to put me out of my misery?
Nope.
Oh, I'm fielding Barry bad.
Thanks everybody so much for coming to the Improv Summit. As always, I'm your host Spencer. That's Adam. See you next time. Bye.